Time has not been kind to these celebrities. Nature's first green is gold. Regardless of status or nationality, age will creep up and conquer even the most beautiful. Some have faced time and made friends with it, but others choose to fight it tooth and nail. Others have done the latter, but time won again and again. Among celebrities, health and beauty are standards to be met and preserved. Unfortunately, not everyone has been lucky. Time has not been kind to these celebrities, and it shows. Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke was a handsome leading man. He's kept a good head of hair, but his looks have not fared well. Thanks to damage done by his foray into boxing and bad choices in his plastic surgeons, Rourke is a mere shadow of his past good-looking self. Pamela Anderson. A favorite pinup of the 90s and 14-time Playboy cover model, Pamela Anderson was the epitome of the sexy, sun-kissed California girl ideal, even if she is actually from Canada. Unfortunately, age, Botox, bad hair extensions, the wrong makeup, and her hard partying days caught up with her. Brendan Fraser. The blue-eyed heartthrob seemed to have made it all, but then he suffered from injuries due to stunt work, underwent a partial knee replacement, gained weight, and suffered from personal setbacks. Thankfully, he's gradually eased himself into Hollywood again through a stellar performance in The Whale. Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn was the quintessential American blonde, perky, bubbly, with a bright smile and lovely personality. A beloved celebrity and capable actress. Hawn also went through some cosmetic enhancements to keep her looks, but aging happens to everyone. Jack Nicholson. A devilishly handsome man in his youth, Jack Nicholson always had an air of danger around him. These days, though, he looks more creepy than dangerous. Johnny Depp. The pinup boy who preferred to be a character actor, Johnny Depp had the prettiness down pat. However, time, bad habits, and a bad marriage took their toll on him. Donatella Versace. Donatella Versace took over the reins of the Versace empire after her brother died, and she proved quite capable. Unfortunately, she seems to have gone overboard on the fillers, Botox, and eyeliner these days. Matthew Perry. He may not be the best-looking celebrity in Hollywood, but Matthew Perry had a pleasant look about him. With age, he gained weight and just simply gave up on the exercise and diet that could have helped him maintain his physical appearance. Britney Spears. Britney Spears was the perky, giggly pop princess, but personal problems got in the way. She just recently got out of a nasty conservatorship and is currently rebuilding her life and career. Keith Richards. Keith Richards is proof that doing drugs will not automatically kill you. It will simply make you look like a 500-year-old man. With his gnarly face and gruff voice, Richards is every bit the living rock legend that he is. Thankfully, he's still great at guitar. Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan was America's sweetheart until she fell from grace due to infidelity. She's had trouble retaining her status, and it doesn't help that she's not aging as well as she could have. Macaulay Culkin. Cuteness doesn't last forever, but then again, Macaulay Culkin never said it would. He's aged like everybody else, but it seems that even with what money he has, Culkin still refuses to get his own stylist. Caitlyn Jenner. The former Olympian Bruce Jenner still needs to learn a few makeup tricks, but her hair's great. Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim was a good-looking woman and probably didn't need the cosmetic work. She's happy with herself, though, and ultimately, that's what matters. Jim Carrey. Rubber-faced Jim Carrey didn't look that bad in his youth. It's just that his antics were distracting. He's not afraid of aging, though, and that's good for him. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is one of America's most talented exports. But time, along with his refusal to get fit, just simply ruined the view. Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal was never known for his good looks, but he kind of looked convincing as a martial arts expert in his younger days. In recent years, however, his so-called expertise is just simply difficult to believe. Madonna. The one and only Madonna had a pretty face, and she's taken good care of herself over the years, putting in the work via weight training, exercise, and diet. But in the last few years, Madge has not been doing well, overdoing the cosmetic work and appearing on social media with strange declarations. Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger had strange good looks and that remarkable dancing going for him. He's pushing 80 now and hasn't stopped rocking. Of course, he doesn't have smooth skin anymore, but he's still got his locks, which is good. LaToya Jackson. LaToya Jackson could have been way prettier than this, but overdoing the plastic surgery really doesn't do you any favors. Thank goodness she seems to have pulled the brakes on the enhancements. Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase may be funny, but he's no Cary Grant. He also doesn't look like he wastes time working out or keeping a healthy diet. Kate Moss. The waif look was all the rage in the 90s because of the Divine Miss Moss. She's still one of the world's best and most successful supermodels, and retained her air of mystery in spite of past scandals. A few wrinkles and bad eyeliner will not bring her down. Sylvester Stallone. Sly Stallone has never pretended to be a poster boy for pretty. Instead, he forged his career playing muscled characters who saved the day. He looks a bit chubby in places, but it happens to anyone who's past his 60th birthday. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan had such promise, but drinking and partying at a young age does no one any good. These bad decisions only serve to sideline her career and ruin her good looks. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger may have left his Terminator bod behind, but he's remained a force for good in his own way. He's promoted good vibes when he can and has remained an avid weightlifter. He's aged, of course, but that's to be expected. Kelly McGillis. At one point, the beautiful leading lady of actors such as Tom Cruise and Harrison Ford, Kelly McGillis has opted to age naturally and has never looked more comfortable and content. Al Pacino. There was a time when Al Pacino had his good looks, but for an award-winning actor who's earned worldwide respect for his craft, he likely couldn't care less if his age shows. Joan Van Ark. Joan Van Ark was a stunning woman, but went to too many trips to the plastic surgeon's clinic for her own good. There was a point where she should have stopped, but she didn't. Matt LeBlanc. He's still a handsome guy, but Matt LeBlanc had chosen not to watch his diet and likely does little exercise to keep his former physique. Shauna Sand. Too much sun can ruin one's skin, no matter how smooth and clear it once was. Shauna Sand simply had too many tanning sessions under her belt and bad lip fillers. Billy Crystal. The funny man's receding hairline is more evident these days, but he's not lost his humor and infectious smile. Sarah Jessica Parker. Sarah Jessica Parker is known as a fashionista and not as a famous beauty. She, however, still rocks those clothes and that hair. Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop hates his shirts. And it wasn't so bad when he was younger, but these days, it'd be nice if he rummaged through his closet to find those shirts he badly needs to wear. Barbra Streisand. Babs is still fabulous, but those fillers, not so much. Maybe she should also start thinking about changing her hairstylist because that hair color is just not it. Steven Tyler. Steven Tyler is not aging well, but he's a rock star, so maybe that's an excuse. On the upside, he does make good-looking kids. Brigitte Bardot. Brigitte Bardot is an iconic beauty, but it's been years since her heyday. She may no longer be the hot number she once was, but she could at least have a hairstylist fix that do, considering that her hairstyle was part of her look. Edward Furlong. Edward Furlong had a drop-dead cute look in his youth, but bad habits and a careless diet have simply taken loads from him, at least looks-wise. Sally Struthers. Sally Struthers was a lovely girl with a pretty smile, but it's been quite a while since she was the girl next door. These days she's rocking that sweet mom look, and it isn't so bad. Paul Stanley. The pretty demon may not be pretty anymore, but with that kabuki makeup on, you could still catch a glimpse of his looks. He's a musical superstar, so ultimately that's what counts. Kathleen Turner. The eyes still got it, and the legs, but Kathleen Turner's sexy temptress days are behind her. She doesn't try too hard, though, and seems quite content with her less-than-perfect image. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was the hot blonde in his prime, but turning to food for comfort when you're middle-aged is never a good idea. Kilmer could still try, though. Janice Dickinson. The exotic supermodel of the 70s was a hot chick, but age and too much plastic surgery are not a good combination at all. Hers is likely the case of caring too much about your looks. Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne was never shy about the substances he took throughout his life. Maybe, just maybe, all those drugs did wonders to his skin because he has very few wrinkles. Maybe. Or maybe it's Botox and fillers. Demi Moore. Demi Moore was one of the faces to gaze at in the 80s. The combination of dark hair and blue eyes, simply stunning. But then she had things done and fixed things that likely didn't need fixing. Miley Cyrus. She's still young, so she still has a long way to go. But her transformation from sweet young girl to this spiked hair, tongue-showing, hot pants-wearing woman is a bit unsettling. Boy George. He was beautiful, with a softness about his looks that made him a gay icon in the 80s. But he's since shaved his hair and kept most of the makeup away. Plus, it doesn't help that he did all those drugs years ago. Courtney Love. Courtney Love is no great beauty, but she looked fine in her youth. These days, though, she just looks puffy and unkempt. Gene Simmons. The long-tongued demon wasn't much to look at without the makeup, even in the prime of Kiss. But he's never pretended to be the pretty boy. He does try to keep up appearances, however, dyeing his hair and going through a few cosmetic procedures here and there. Terry Hatcher. Terry Hatcher had those large brown eyes that gave her a sultry look. However, too many fillers she says she toyed with have done more damage than good over the years. Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent needs a good under-eye treatment these days for those eye bags and maybe a good razor for that vertical patch under his lower lip. Kelly LeBrock. Kelly LeBrock was a stunningly beautiful woman, but again, when it ain't broke, don't fix it. Her lovely lips have been fillered up to imperfection, and now she just looks a bit strange. Carrot Top. Okay, Carrot Top is not a looker, and for some strange reason, he looks like a slightly improved version of himself these days. Renee Zellweger. Renee Zellweger is admitted to having some work done, but we hope she doesn't do too much because her look was just right. Her recent outing simply is not her. Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio is no longer the heartthrob he was, but he's honed his craft, so there's that. He has a middle-aged spread going now, but those eyes are still as distracting as before. Sophia Loren. Sophia Loren has time and again refused cosmetic surgery, choosing instead to age naturally. She's lived long and, well, is quite proud of it. Robert Redford. Robert Redford is proof that too much time out in the sun is bad for the skin. Smile is still the same though. Salma Hayek. There's always one fluke in a list, and Salma Hayek's it. She's in her 50s, but she looks amazing. Whatever she's doing, she should keep doing it. John Travolta. Even a pretty guy like John Travolta can look, we don't know, like an android or a wax statue. He's too pale, and that hair color is not doing him any favors. Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis does not have the pretty factor of her mom, Janet Leigh, but she had the body. Check out True Lies for proof. She's since let her hair go gray and lets her wrinkles show. Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood was a handsome cowboy once, but he's a senior now. If only he'd do something with that hair on windy days, because it just looks like he's never owned a comb in his life. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Jocelyn Wildenstein is proof that too much money spent on plastic surgery is never a good idea, especially if it results in too much plastic surgery. Nick Nolte. He was once sexiest man alive, but now he just looks like the guy who stands at the back who plays the marimba in an elderly band. Nikki Cox. Nikki Cox's hot babe looks were definitely ruined when she met her plastic surgeon. Now her face is just puffed up, and her lips are just overwhelmed with too much filler. Axl Rose. He was pretty once, but the bad hair days and plastic surgeon appointments didn't do Axl Rose any favors. Katie Price. Katie Price is proof that when you don't think you're pretty enough, you're likely to destroy your good looks. There's just too much happening in her face to make her recognizable. Brad Pitt. Even the prettiest of them succumbed to time, and a troubled marriage and a half dozen kids. Brad Pitt didn't age for a while, but then again, marriage can do you good, or it could spell disaster. Anthony Michael Hall. The nerdy classmate he played was a secret crush for many teenagers in the 80s, but now Anthony Michael Hall is just this red-skinned, middle-aged guy who looks like your introvert neighbor. Mark Hamill. The Force wasn't as strong for Mark Hamill when it came to slowing down aging, but when you played Luke Skywalker, you really don't care at all. Neil Young. He still looks like Neil Young, only older. Much older. He also hasn't changed his style, which maybe he should consider doing. Richard Gere. The original American Gigolo set hearts beating fast with his roles in the 80s and 90s, and he's still handsome, but maybe a bit of a makeover won't hurt. Morgan Freeman. When you played God, you probably will not care what you look like. Morgan Freeman sure doesn't.